The dorms at Cox College were old. They smelled like stale beer and fear. Not exactly the exciting fresh start I'd hoped for. Cox College wasn't known for its safety record either. My older brother Mark had given me a stern talking to before I left. "Don't be stupid, kid," he'd warned. "That place is crawling with creeps." I tried to shake off his words. I wanted to believe in the excitement of starting college, of new beginnings. I missed Sarah, though. We dated all through high school, but the pressure of different colleges, different lives had been too much. The breakup was messy, full of tears and accusations. It left me feeling raw, adrift in a sea of unfamiliar faces. I needed a distraction, a connection. One night after a particularly grueling study session, I found myself scrolling through the App Store. My finger hovered over the familiar icon of Hinge. It felt pathetic, seeking solace in the digital void, but loneliness is a powerful motivator. With a sigh, I downloaded the app. The world of online dating was a whirlwind. So many faces, so many profiles, all vying for attention. Most of them blurred together, generic bios, awkward selfies. Then I saw her profile, Hannah. Her smile was warm, genuine. Her bio mentioned she loved classic rock and volunteered at an animal shelter. We started chatting and I felt a spark. She was funny, intelligent, and easy to talk to. For the first time since arriving at Cox, I felt a flicker of hope. We messaged back and forth for a week, our conversations flowing effortlessly. We talked about everything and nothing. I looked forward to her messages, a bright spot in the monotony of lectures and cafeteria food. Soon, we were texting daily, sharing snippets of our lives. I found myself thinking about her constantly. One evening, after a particularly good day at the lab, I threw caution to the wind. "Would you like to grab a movie sometime?" I typed, my heart pounding. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. "I'd love to," her reply read. I grinned like an idiot. Planning the date was a blur of excitement and nerves. We decided on an independent cinema downtown showing an old Hitchcock thriller. It was perfect. We finalized the details and I was about to suggest picking her up when her next text arrived. "My dad's a bit overprotective," she wrote. "Could you pick me up at the corner of Elm and Oak at 8? He won't let me catch a ride from strangers." It was an odd request, but I brushed it off. Maybe her dad was strict, or maybe she'd had a bad experience. Either way, it wasn't a big deal. The day of the date dragged by. I spent an absurd amount of time picking out my clothes, trying to quell the butterflies in my stomach. Finally, 8 p.m. rolled around. I checked my reflection one last time, grabbed my keys, and headed out the door. The drive to the corner of Elm and Oak was short. I pulled up to the curb, my headlights illuminating the deserted street corner. It was a quiet residential area, streetlights casting long, eerie shadows on the sidewalk. I checked my watch, 8:05 p.m. Hannah was late. Minutes ticked by, each one stretching into an eternity. Doubt began to creep in. Maybe I'd gotten the time wrong. Maybe she'd changed her mind. Just as I was about to text her, I saw headlights approaching in the rearview mirror. The car slowed to a stop behind me and a figure emerged. It wasn't Hannah. A shiver ran down my spine. This was not the kind of neighborhood you wanted to be out alone in at night. A man approached my car. He was tall and broad-shouldered, his face obscured by the shadows. He rapped on my window and I hesitantly rolled it down a fraction. "You here for Hannah?" he growled, his voice rough, like sandpaper. Yeah," I stammered, trying to get a better look at him. He was older, maybe in his late 40s, with a hard face and eyes that seemed to bore into me. "She sent me to pick you up," he grunted, taking a step closer. "Said you wouldn't mind." His words sent a jolt of alarm through me. Something felt off, deeply wrong. My gut screamed at me to get out of there fast. "Actually," I said, my voice trembling slightly, "I think I'll just wait for Hannah here." The man's eyes narrowed. "She's running late," he insisted, his tone taking on an edge. "Hop in, I'll bring you to her." My grip tightened on the steering wheel. Something was definitely wrong. Hannah wouldn't send her dad to pick me up without mentioning it. And why wouldn't she come herself? The knot of dread in my stomach tightened. "I'm okay, thanks," I said, forcing a smile. "I'll just shoot her a text." I could practically feel the man's anger radiating through the night. "Get out of the car, son!" he snarled, his voice low and menacing. Without waiting for a response, he reached for the door handle. My blood ran cold. Instinct took over. I slammed my foot on the gas, the car lurching forward, tires screeching against the asphalt. I didn't look back. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I sped away. My heart hammered in my chest. I glanced at my rearview mirror and saw the man's car, headlights glaring, spinning around to follow me. Panic seized me. He was chasing me. My phone buzzed with a text from Hannah's number. "Everything okay? My dad said you seemed nervous, LOL." The message sent chills down my spine. This wasn't Hannah. This was a setup. Fear propelled me. I pushed the accelerator harder, weaving through the deserted streets, desperate to lose the car behind me. But it was relentless, always right on my tail, its headlights like the eyes of a predator in the night. I had to lose him. Spotting a narrow alleyway, I swerved the wheel, careening down the tight space. The car behind me was too big to follow. I had bought myself some time. I abandoned my car in the alley, my breath catching in my throat. I could hear the roar of the engine as the man's truck circled back, searching. I ducked behind a dumpster, my heart pounding against my ribs. The alley was dark, the stench of garbage thick in the air. I peeked out cautiously. The truck had stopped at the entrance of the alley. I could hear the man's heavy footsteps as he approached, his shadow stretching out like a monstrous hand reaching for me. Terror choked me. I had nowhere to go. He was going to find me. Then I saw it. A fire escape ladder, old and rusty, leading to the rooftops. It was a long shot, but it was my only chance. As the man's footsteps came closer, I made my move. I scrambled up the fire escape, my lungs burning, my legs screaming for mercy. I clambered onto the rooftop, the rough gravel scraping my palms. Looking back, I saw the man emerge from the alley. He looked up, his face a mask of rage in the moonlight. I didn't hesitate. I ran. I sprinted across rooftops, leaping across gaps, adrenaline fueling my every move. Behind me I could hear the man's enraged shouts, echoing through the night. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I reached the edge of the building. The drop to the street below was significant, but I didn't have a choice. Taking a deep breath, I jumped, landing heavily on a pile of trash bags. I didn't waste time looking back. I limped away as fast as I could, my body bruised but my spirit unbroken. I had escaped. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was another message from Hannah. "You can't hide forever," it read. "We'll find you." A wave of nausea washed over me. I wasn't safe, not yet. They knew who I was. They could find me again, but I refused to live in fear. I would go to the police, report what happened. I would protect myself. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. But I would not be their victim, not anymore.